Well, good afternoon, everybody, and roll tide and buckle up. We're excited about this year. We've gotten through probably 16 or so practices, and our boys are working hard, and they've been very coachable, and they've had to retain a lot of information. But it's just been very gratifying coming here every day to Coleman Coliseum and working with our team and working with our coaching staff and all of the other support people that really wants to make Alabama basketball great. So we have another practice today at 3. And, we're getting ready, for our exhibition season and the open of our season. We don't have a rotation. We don't have a starting lineup. That's kind of like the version of Coach Saban when you ask him a quarterback question, all right, before the season. So, but we're excited. I would say some of the guys that's been kind of standing out for us, Jimmy Taylor's he's been outstanding on both ends of the floor. He competes at a high level, and Jimmy's gotten better. In all facets of the game. So we're looking for him to have a much better year than averaging 5 points a game. We're going to lean on him a lot this year. So, So any questions?
Just raise your hand. We'll get a microphone over to you. Mark, have one up front here.
I know you talked about wanting to speed up the offensive pace and things like that. How have you seen that transformation take hold through these practices?
Yeah, that transformation has been, tough in a lot of ways because they're playing faster, more consistently than they ever have. So obviously that brings in the question, taking care of the ball, having the right, correct spacing on the floor, setting good legal screens, making on-time, on-target passes. So there are a lot of things that come into play when you're playing faster, and we're definitely not a finished product, but we have to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. Our turnovers has been a little high in practice, but that's as to be expected.
Coach, just a general question about recruiting. Obviously, when you were named the coach, the question was, can you recruit? But now that you've kind of proven that you can, has it gone better than you even anticipated?
Well, I don't know if we've proven anything yet. The official signing date hasn't arrived yet, and I think ultimately proving that you can recruit is not only getting kids to verbally commit, but get them to sign and get them on campus. And but we've been very competitive on the recruiting front. A lot of the high-powered schools that have recruited the type of players we're recruiting, we've been there with them side by side. When they show up at AAU tournaments, we're there. When they show up for home visits one night, we're there the next night. So fortunately, a lot of these kids that have one and done and two and done potential, fortunately, they're taking our phone calls. And we've been also fortunate to get them on campus, a lot of them, not all of them. And we think once we get them on campus, if we're able to retain a high percentage of those kids and get them to commit, then we think we're doing a great job. But there's no rest for the weary. This is a 24/7 gig, and my coaches work awfully hard, and we have a lot of ground to catch up. Make up rather, and it's not going to happen overnight.
Up here on the right, Michael.
With the tip-off thing tomorrow night, what can people expect, I guess, when they come out?
Well, one of the things I don't want people to expect is for me to ride in on a motorcycle, in some little general costume. Okay, that's not going to happen. All right. So maybe I'll challenge Coach Christie to a dance-off or something, and we'll play some of my old soul music or something. But I think what they can expect is to see the excitement surrounding our basketball program. Our men's and women teams, they've obviously been working hard, but they'll have a chance to watch them scrimmage a little bit. We're going to have some shooting contests between both teams. We're going to have a slam dunk contest. I already know who's going to win, by the way. We have some celebrity judges. Reggie Ragland, he's going to be there. We got some other surprises. We have one or two other surprises. And obviously, we're going to end the night with one of the hottest rap artists in the country that we think is going to be a nice treat for our students specifically that love rap music.
Back up to Mark, and then we'll go to Cecil.
You mentioned Jimmy as a guy who's been standing out. What about your perimeter players? Any of the guards showing you some things so far?
Yeah, well, we're very young on the perimeter. Obviously we have Redden, who's been in the SEC for a while, and Arthur Edwards, who, is also a graduate and has 1 year left. But the rest of our guys are very, very, very young. And, guys like Dejon Ingram and Justin Coleman, they've been battling it out, especially at the point guard spot, and Brandon Austin and Riley Norris, and those guys are battling it out for other wing positions. So the competition has been fierce, but we understand with a lot of our guys, they're young, they're inexperienced. It shows in practice, and I know it's going to show a little bit in the game, but that's going to require that I'm patient, and hopefully they'll grow and develop and get better as the season goes on, and especially when they understand the pace of play on the college level.
Back in the back, Cecil.
Coach, when we got to observe practice last week, you talked a little bit about how Shannon and Michael were coming back from their injuries. Are they continuing to progress, and what's their prognosis?
Yeah, Michael, from what we understand, is probably in the best shape he's been in 2 years now, but it's still not at the level where I need him to play. And Shannon he's been limited, but now he's at a point now where he can play full court consistently throughout their entire practice. So we're hoping by the time we get to our exhibition game, we can put those guys out there on the floor with no restrictions, and they can contribute in ways they've never contributed before. But Shannon also told me he feels great. His weight is good. We're big in the body fat and muscle mass and a lot of the things that we talk a lot about on the NBA level. So the main thing is Clark, our trainer, and Lou, our strength and conditioning coach, they spend a lot of time with Michael and Shannon, and we're starting to see it pay off for us in the way they're starting to practice more consistently and fight through fatigue and the physicality part. I'm on them all the time about, being more physical.
Question up front here, Alex.
You mentioned playing through Jimmy a lot more this year. How has he taken to the faster pace and trying to kind of play up and down the court?
Yeah, I think he appreciates it because I often remind our wing players, don't forget about Jimmy. And sometimes when you're playing faster, if Jimmy gets the rebound and he outlets it and guys are on an all-out sprint trying to score the ball, sometimes he can get lost in the shuffle. So just letting them know about playing fast, but also knowing when to go more to a little bit of a secondary break so that we can feature Jimmy and get the ball inside to him. And he's been making pretty good decisions with the basketball, and he's embraced the responsibility, and more of it. We took him to our media day, and he shined that media day, and he saw that his name wasn't on the first All-SEC first team preseason list. So Jimmy's got a lot to prove. I still think there's a higher ceiling for him, and hopefully we'll help him get there.
And Avery, just to follow up on what you were saying before about recruiting, I know you can't talk about individual guys, obviously, but just based on some of the commitments that you've gotten, how encouraging has that been? And if or whenever those guys do put pen to paper, how much do you feel like that bodes well just for the future of the program?
I just think whenever guys verbally commit, it's very encouraging because it sends shockwaves through the system. And I think it's more than anything, it just lets people know how hard we're working and how young students and athletes, how their families believe in what the vision that we're trying to, and the vision we have here and what we're trying to accomplish. And they trust us. That's what it's all about. It's all about relationship and trust, and that they can clearly see in a crystal clear manner that where we're going and how we're going to help their young man achieve all of his dreams and goals. And hopefully, whether it's a professional career or if it's if he graduates from here and maybe go into our business school, that we have a lot of different resources and a lot of options when you decide to come to Alabama.
Go over the left.
It's been a little bit since we saw practice a few weeks ago, and you talked about you need to get the guys to take the great shot early on. Has the team continued to maybe develop in that area, and has that been the most difficult thing for you to get the team to buy into in this transition?
Very difficult, very painful, but it's a good problem to have. And again, we've talked a lot about going from good to great, but it's also trying to train our guys to not go from great to good to bad. And it's a slow process, but also knowing when not to just take consistent bad shots just because we're trying to play fast. But we'll get there. They've made a lot of progress. I'm excited about practice today. This is the first time since we've been working out that we actually had the entire weekend off. So I'm excited to see their energy today and how anxious they are to get back in the gym. And when I sent them that text at 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday when they thought we were going to practice at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, boy, I heard they had a lot of smiley face emojis going around on their text messages. So, yeah, but they're doing a good job. I'm very pleased at their effort.
Back over to Mark.
One more on Jimmy. One of the things he struggled with last year was getting in foul trouble. Have you seen any improvement in the defensive side of things?
That's a great question. We've been working with Jimmy on that, and we actually had some referees come in from the SEC, and they go around all of the teams and do little training sessions with our team, and we basically talk to them a lot about what's legal, what Jimmy can and can't do. We coach Jimmy a lot. I would say this summer I've had some pretty rough moments with Jimmy because trying to show him on video what we want in body position and footwork and actually trying to get him to commit to doing it on the floor. He's really bought into it. And we're hoping that, with some of the techniques that we've worked with him on, that he can cut his fouls in half. Because I can't, with our team this year, as inexperienced as we are at so many spots, we can't have Jimmy get in foul trouble in the first 3 minutes of the game, and especially with silly fouls. So he's learning. He's doing a good job of passing the basketball, and Jimmy's just a great kid to work with every day.
Go to the back row on the left.
Coach, you've had many stops all over the country, from Dallas to San Antonio to Brooklyn. Did you ever picture yourself in Alabama?
No, did not. This wasn't on my radar a year ago, or how many months I've been here, Aaron? 6 months, 9 months ago. This wasn't really on my radar. So, but I've been pleasantly surprised. And that's why we're so passionate of trying to get recruits on campus so they can see what we see and live it and suck it all in and go to our football games and go around campus and see all of the other great sports teams we have, and gymnastics and softball and baseball and tennis and soccer. And man, if you're a sports junkie, fanatic, this is a great place to be. So, and then all of the academic support that we have here and training and all of the wonderful professors and administrators I've met all over campus. If we can get people here to Tuscaloosa to see how special of a place it is, I think we got a chance. That's one of the reasons I'm fully 100% moved in to Tuscaloosa. I do not have a residence anywhere else in the country. So we're all in, and I've enjoyed getting to meet people all across the state. I think I've talked at every tip-off club, Rotary Club, quarterback club, Red Elephant Club, President's Council, President's Cabinet. A-Day. I think I've done it all, right? So it fits me like a glove. So hopefully, with future recruits from the 2016, 17, 18 classes that we're recruiting, hopefully they'll feel that this is a fit like I do.
Good time for a couple more questions. Start with Alex on the left here.
Kind of touched on a little bit. How have you been able to kind of keep the energy from your hire in April going 6-7 months down the line now and in the off season? How important was that to kind of get going?
It's very important. That's why sometimes people say, Coach, it seems like you're in 5 different places at one time. Well, that's kind of strategic. And we got to get out and spread the word and spread the message and, try to get people to understand what we're doing and let people know how important it is not only to be here, attend our games, but also make it a loud coliseum. We want to make it hard on our opposing teams when they come in here. We don't want it to be like it's a ride and walk in the park. So it's been great trying to move our students around. We got 2,000 of our students closer to the floor. I think last week I met with every vice president and president from each sorority and fraternity here on campus. And, I have lunch sometime with the students. And I think the lifeline of our program has to be our student involvement, and also our season tickets are up this year from our season ticket holders. That's important. So I just think it's all a collaborative effort. But it's a lot of work, but it's something that we're thoroughly enjoying.
And real quick, just kind of want to get your thoughts on passing of Flip Saunders. I know.
Yeah, Flip. Oh man, I was very disappointed to get that news about Flip. Flip was a great innovator in a lot of ways and coached a lot of games against Flip. Played against his teams. They were always terrific on the offensive end and. Just to see his relationship with KG, Kevin Garnett, and how they had such a wonderful relationship, kind of the same way Pop and Tim has a relationship. But I was always hoping that this was a temporary deal where, we would get him back on the sidelines this year. I didn't really realize how bad a shape he was in. So prayers out to his family and his 4 children. And, 60 years old, man, that's just, my dad died at 64, and it just seems like it's just gone too soon. So thoughts and prayers go out to his family and all of the Minnesota Timberwolves family.
So here, and then we'll go to Matt.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of recruiting and incoming recruits, Dazon Ingram and Dante Hall. What kind of strides have they made early in their time on campus?
Well, Dante Hall specifically, he was 205 pounds when he showed up on campus. Now he's 225. So he's gained weight, and he feels good about himself because, playing against Jimmy every day is no small task. So, he's putting on the weight, putting on the muscle. He still has a ways to go, but, he's a kid that can play above the basket. He really plays above the rim. Block shots, he comes out of nowhere to block shots. And, he's learning the college life is not that easy, going to class and managing all that, like a lot of our freshmen. But I'm pleased with where he is right now at this stage of our practice schedule.
Last question, man.
And Avery, you've talked before about your relationship with Nick and trying to utilize him in different ways, Coach Saban. Hey, how much of an emphasis has that been for you? How much have you focused on building that relationship, utilizing the football program? And I know Christy talked at one point last year about recruits coming in and taking them to see Nick in his office during the official recruiting visits. Have you utilized him at all?
Yeah, a lot. We've utilized him a lot. He's got a good record for us right now in terms of recruiting. And I think the main thing is utilizing Coach Saban as much as we can, but also respecting his time. It requires an enormous amount of time to do what he does day in and day out. And then when you have a lot of the other sports pulling on him to meet with maybe some of their recruits, because, he's a pretty big time guy, and that's one of the reasons, again, I took the job. I wanted to partner with him in trying to make football and basketball great at the same time. But met with some of their recruits. I've met with recruits from other sports. So we've all been working together, but it's very important, the relationship that we have. I talked to him the other day. I came and helped him out at Nick at Noon. And then we talked a little bit in between him going on the stage. And that relationship has been strong. His wife, Miss Terry's been great to Cassandra, my wife, and she's helped her with her transition. So, we're family. And family's always there for each other. And I want he's been there for me. Every time I've needed him, he's always been there. But also, I enjoy just going to talk to him. It's just talking about life, talking about coaching. Even though it's two different balls, still got to take care of the ball, whatever sport it is. Football, you call it interceptions. We in turnovers are turnovers. We throw interceptions too in practice. All right, and we got to minimize those interceptions, especially at the speed that we're playing. So, Coach Saban has been very helpful.